Okay, now we're coming to the actual 3-minute testimony. You've introduced yourself. You have permission to start talking to them. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to talk about your life before Christ. Now, some of you have accepted Christ at a very early age, and there really wasn't a whole lot of things you remember even before you accepted Christ. But some of you accepted Christ really later in life, and there's a lot of things that went on. But no matter where you are in that process, there are things that you can talk about which are common to all people, and the common need of all people is our need for Christ. And so when you're dealing with your life before Christ, when you're dealing with that section, you want to give them some details so they can relate to you, so they understand a little bit about you. Here's the caution though. Your life is complicated, and your story takes a lot more than 3 minutes to tell. And so you've got to be very careful to only give certain highlights of your story. Now, when you think about the 3-minute testimony, if you've got my life before Christ, how I came to know Christ, and my life after Christ, you can only talk about your life before Christ for about a minute, or at the most, a minute and a half. If you go any longer than that, then you're not going to have time for the other part. And if you don't have time for the other part, then what's going to happen is you're going to go way over 3 minutes. So you've got to shoot for this section only being a minute to a minute and a half long. That's all it can be. And I know that's going to be hard, but if you do the training beforehand, the 1-hour witness training or the 1-day witness training, there's both of those, 1 hour and 1 day, available from the NAM website, namb.net. You can go there and search for it and download it. If you will take that training ahead of time, then you'll be able to get that, get your story down to that minute, a minute and a half. So when you're telling your story, you don't have to go into all kinds of sordid details. You don't have to tell them your whole life history. You don't have time. But you can tell them the story to catch their attention, for them to realize that you had a life where you saw your need for Jesus Christ. So practice that. Get your story into at least a minute to a minute and a half there, and then you'll be able to move on to the next section. The main thing is you've got a lot to tell. You cannot tell it all. It's not like we're sitting down in coffee with somebody, a friend, where we can just have 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour just to talk about our life. You have a minute to a minute and a half to get your whole before Christ story put down so that you can tell them. So work on it. My life before Christ. Get the training materials. Write it out. Learn what it's like to have a good story done in a minute and a half. And then come prepared, ready to share.